Fabulous. Perfection me all day, every day. Bought it to remind myself. I think of artistic practice in 4 components. I think of a vocal practice, a physical practice, an intellectual practice, and most recently, I am very clear on the necessity of a well-being practice. I believe that our well-being is something that we need to practice. Let's start with vocal practice. So there's so many ways to do it. I choose material for a year. This year I chose material for a recital. Some of it's hard, some of it's easy. There's always something that I think, oh my gosh, I'm never going to accomplish that well enough to sing it in front of people. If I'm not up to snuff and I'm not ready, then I have this series of exercises that I've always practiced. There's humming and there's oming and there's ways to improve breath control and all those things, which leads me into physical practice, because with the breath control, wow, I had a new discovery. I've been learning all this Qigong breathing practice, and it's really actually expanding my ability to control my breath when I'm singing. My physical practice has changed over the years, let me tell you. When I was younger, of course, there was dance class, and yoga and cardio and fitness and weightlifting. And now that I'm at the age that I am, there's yoga and stretching and Tai Chi and Qigong and resting, walking. I also dance in my kitchen to whatever music I like, however I like. The intellectual practice is about reading, watching, dissecting, curiosity. Go to everything as an audience member who is open and willing to have the experience that is offered. Afterwards, when you have deciphered whether you enjoyed it or not, then start the investigation as to why. Why is Harriet Walters so extraordinary? Why Olivia Colman, Tom Hardy, all those artists that I just go, oh my gosh, they are so good. I think about why, I think about how, I read about where they studied, how they studied, and I discover techniques and schools of thought that I've never even heard of. So there's new stuff to stimulate my intellect, and I move forward learning more and more and more, right? I have come to understand how vital this 4th aspect of my artistic practice is. It is vital that I take care of my mental and emotional health. I can be more vulnerable the stronger I am. I can be more creative the less I am worried about the outcome. I think of all the people that I began with. I think of from all the universities and conservatories and academies across the country. Every year we have hundreds of artists entering the realm of the theater, and then by the time we hit 30, we've lost 50%, and then by the time we hit 40, we've lost another 25, and by the time you're my age, there's a handful of people my age. I believe that the reason those numbers fall off is because we get tired. We get tired and we get hurt and we get frustrated, and our hearts can't take it. Our hearts can't take the bombardment of rejection, and we intellectualize the rejection and we say, it is not us, it is preference, it is not personal, and all of those things are true. But how do I shield myself from those things entering my psyche and really having an effect on the way I move through the world? I want to move through the world with confidence. I want to move through the world without questioning my right to be here, to have a voice, to speak. As artists, where we perform traumatic events over and over and over again, we have to practice well-being. We have to have a practice to shed the trauma, to heal ourselves? How do we maintain our well-being? How do we maintain our positivity? How do we maintain our self-esteem? That is extraordinarily personal. It's not the same as learning a song and running some scales and doing some vocalization. That is meditation. That is affirmation. That is reading Brené Brown, listening to TED Talks, things that will feed your resiliency. Feed your resiliency. Feed it with other people's words, other people's insights. I was listening to a podcast with Brené Brown, and she was talking about shame and how we can never rid ourselves of shame, but we must become resilient to it. She talked about how one must learn to speak to themselves the same way you would speak to someone you love. I think that is so important. I think that we can only have a strong physical practice and a strong vocal practice and a strong intellectual practice if we have a strong well-being practice first. And I think the stronger our well-being is, the more confidence we have, the more respect and love we have for ourselves, the greater our potential. The safer we feel, the more vulnerable we can be. And the more vulnerable we can be, the more we can use our imaginations and be fearless.